I would like to give the floor now to my colleague Ivan Sinčić from Croatia.
Thank you very much. So basically yesterday there was another session of COVID committee. Just like most of the sessions before, we couldn't get much answers. We had really good questions, but the other side, in this session, the representative of Pfizer and others couldn't provide us with any real answers. They were mostly doing their positive PR campaign. You know, they're using the committee to promote their products that are going to come, the next products, the next generation of products for Omicron now and things like that. So it is a major disgrace that the CEO of Pfizer, Mr. Albert Bourla, failed to present himself before our committee, and it is even bigger disgrace that he has no real intention of appearing ever. Apparently, he only cares about the citizens' money and not about transparency and basically answering some questions about his products and the conducting of his company, so and so. So I will suggest to the Secretariat that invites our guests, the ones that we speak with, that he should be invited using a text message and not an email next time. Perhaps he will appear in that way. I come from Croatia, as my colleague Mr. Terhes said, and in Croatia we know how Pfizer does things. I will remind you of a huge scandal exactly 10 years ago when Pfizer was penalized for bribing Croatian doctors responsible for registration of medicines and for bribing doctors in Bioethics Commission in Croatia who were evaluating clinical trials. And in the end, Pfizer had to pay $60 million just for that. And of course, if we look at the company history, we will see a lot of lawsuits and a lot of fines being paid. For example, a few years before this case in Croatia, which was not limited just to Croatia, it was also in Bulgaria and some other countries. A few years before that, Pfizer had to pay $2.3 billion for false advertising. So when you have a company like that, using text messages to communicate with the head of the commission, then a concerned citizen must ask himself or herself, what is happening here? Is this a conflict of interest? Of course it is. And the conflict of interest is the first step towards corruption. So basically, we were discussing this text messages scandal some time ago, and we called upon President of the Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, to resign. And I will repeat my demand for her to resign, because this cannot be accepted in a democratic society. I'm also pleased that yesterday on our committee session, some attention was given on the very good assessment of 500 independent Canadian medical doctors and scientists who were proving how Pfizer manipulated their initial study from December 2020, which they used to get an approval. So they requested me to send it to them. I will gladly send it to them, and I hope they will not be dodging the answers anymore. After all of this is over, I am not sure Pfizer will be the biggest company, pharmaceutical company, but it will certainly remain a champion in escaping from answers to the public. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by if you smile. Through your fear and sorrow, smile, and maybe tomorrow